Hello! Welcome to the Polyglot Files. My name is Michael and today we're doing a video on the Albanian language. Now, we do a lot of talking about Indo-European languages on this channel, but we actually haven't done anything to do with this seeming language isolate within the Indo-European language family. But what do I mean by a seeming language isolate within the Indo-European language family? You'll just have to wait and find out. First things first, Albanian is a language spoken by about 5.5 million people in the Balkan region. Albanian is an official language in the country of Albania, as well as Kosovo, and it is a recognized minority language in Italy, Croatia, Montenegro, Macedonia, Serbia, and Romania. It is generally postulated that the Albanian language has two different dialects. The first is the Geg dialect, spoken in the north of Albania, the capital city of Tirana, and Kosovo, as well as the Tosk dialect, which is spoken in the south of Albania. Standard Albanian is said to be based on the Tosk dialect. Further, this Standard Albanian has 7 vowel sounds as well as 29 consonant sounds. Interestingly, Albanian has the th theta sound as well as the z eth sound. These are two sounds that are relatively rare, mostly being seen in English as well as Icelandic, but not really being seen in any other Indo-European languages. So now, the big question, why is Albanian seen as a language isolate within the Indo-European language family? I mean, if you look at the tree for Indo-European languages, Albanian occupies its own branch. In fact, for many years, philologists failed to link Albanian to any Indo-European languages. In fact, one linguist even called Albanian Indo-European's weird sister. Not my words. Please don't hate me. To answer this question, we have to look at Albanian's history. Like many other languages that we've spoken about on this channel, such as Tamil, Armenian, and Sanskrit, Albanian has been said to be the first language of the world. I'm starting to think that people from every single country think that their language is the oldest, but I digress. Actually, the first written attestation of Albanian comes to us from the 13th century. Even still, it appears that the Albanian language was a lot different than the languages being spoken in the Balkan region at the time, as well as the other languages being spoken in Europe. And when philologists tried to link Albanian to other languages in the 18th and 19th centuries, they had a lot of trouble doing so. The first issue comes from the fact that they didn't quite know where Albanian was formed. Some theories suggest that Albanian could have been formed in the mountainous regions where modern Albanian is spoken, and those mountains provided a unique opportunity for Albanian to evolve in isolation. This meant that there would have been limited contact between the Albanian language and other languages, and in turn, this limited the ability for Albanian to influence and be influenced by other languages, and thus it did not evolve into drastically different dialects or languages. Evidence for this can be seen in the comparatively low number of Greek words borrowed into Albanian. Despite the fact that ancient Greece and its linguistic influence was merely a few hundred kilometers away from Albania, it wasn't until the Roman Empire took over the region that Albanian's vocabulary became more impacted by other languages. As such, Albanian retains a unique vocabulary that is often difficult to link to other languages at a first glance. For example, the word new in Albanian is re. Compare that to Latin's novus, Old Church Slavonics nov, and Sanskrit's nava, and we can see that the Albanian word is completely different from the other 3 major languages in the Indo-European language family. Next, we have the Albanian word for nose, hunde. I don't know how to pronounce any Albanian, so you're just gonna have to stick with me. We can compare that to Latin's nasus, Old Church Slavonics nos, and Sanskrit's nasa, and we can see again that they are not anything like the Albanian word. Lastly, even with the word black, we have z in Albanian, but in Latin we have otter. My Latin's not so great either. And in Old Church Slavonic, we have trin, as well as kala in Sanskrit. However, despite the fact that it seems that Albanian is not at all linked to other major Indo-European languages, there was a philologist by the name of Franz Bopp who was able to demonstrate Albanian's link to the Indo-European language family in 1854. He, as well as other linguists since him, have been able to link Albanian to Proto-Indo-European. That means that they've been able to compare Albanian to the way Indo-European languages were spoken thousands of years ago. Firstly, since evolving from Proto-Indo-European, Albanian has undergone a linguistic process called semantic drift. This means that words have changed meaning throughout the centuries, diverging these meanings from other major Indo-European languages. A primary example is the Albanian word for sister, motor. At first glance, this looks like the English word mother, and that's because it technically is linked to the English word mother. In fact, both these words share a common Proto-Indo-European ancestor, written like this. The semantic drift just means that Albanian has changed the meaning of this word to mean sister rather than the person who gives birth to children. Further, a deeper look at Albanian shows that it may not be so different from other Indo-European languages at all. This is because Albanian has undergone similar linguistic processes that other Indo-European languages have also undergone. For example, Albanian has collapsed a series of voiced stops. In most Indo-European languages, this means that the allophone d and d, an aspirated d, I don't know if I'm doing it correctly, d, d. These two sounds do not make meaningful distinctions, meaning they are allophones. This same rule applies to other Indo-European languages like English, French, and German. However, these sounds may have been previously distinctive in Proto-Indo-European, and since Albanian has evolved from that, it too has undergone the process of not having a distinction between aspiration and non-aspiration. A second rule common in most Indo-European languages is that as time goes on, unstressed syllables in the languages tend to disappear. For example, the word friend in Albanian is this, meek. Let's compare this to Latin's amicus. As you can tell, stress on the Latin word is on the second syllable, me. Thus, Albanian has retained the stressed part of the word, meek. This is not to say that Albanian has evolved from Latin, it's just that if we assume that Albanian and Latin have a common ancestor, we can see through linguistic evolution that they have gone through a similar linguistic process. In fact, this same rule applies to other languages that have actually evolved from Latin. For example, like Albanian, French has retained the stressed syllable from its Latin predecessor, and presumably its Proto-Indo-European ancestor, and that is evident in the word friend, ami. So what does all this mean? Well, primarily it means one thing. Albanian is a language isolate within the Indo-European language family. Nothing really changed from the beginning of the video, did it? While it has evolved from Proto-Indo-European, it is also known that Albanian evolved rather linearly and in isolation. That means that Albanian is the sole occupant of its own branch of the Indo-European language family. It's all alone. But it's pretty cool, so it can take solace in that, right? Now, there has been some work to connect the Albanian language to the Irilian language, which was spoken in the region thousands of years ago, but since it has gone extinct, we haven't really been able to get many samples in order to compare Irilian to Albanian. Alright, thanks for watching, and if you have any thoughts on Albanian, as well as any experience with the Albanian language, whether you're learning it or you speak it natively, leave me a comment below. Also, don't forget to check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and don't forget to like and subscribe. As usual, thanks for watching the Polyglot Files, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!